So Big Ed here, and today I'm bringing you the Savage Axis, and this one is chambered in 308. And I picked this rifle up and it came exactly like this from Dick's Sporting Goods. Came with the scope mounted on it, it came with these scope rings on it. First, let's go over the features that you'll get when you purchase this rifle right here. You got a 22-inch barrel. You've got a plastic stock, and yes, the barrel is free floated in here. I mean, remember, this is a budget rifle, so right now I can just, with a little thumb pressure right there, I can take the stock and I can tap it on both sides of the barrel, but technically it is free floated in there. It also obviously comes with the scope and the rings. It also comes with this detachable magazine right here, and it's a metal with a plastic bottom on it right here, and it's spring loaded. It holds 4 rounds of ammunition. It's a bolt action rifle. 90-degree throw or close to it. To remove the bolt's pretty simple. You have this little lever right there, and with the trigger, I'm going to pull the bolt back, push the trigger and the bolt release button, you get the bolt out. And you can see the bolt's pretty standard 2-lug, design right there. A few moving parts on it, but it's nice. It's pretty nicely polished. The bolt itself, it'll definitely help when this gun is broken in and shot more. It's a little rough, and with nothing in it, it feels good, but I noticed this rifle, the chamber is definitely cut tighter than a Remington. I've been shooting my ZQI out of it, or a lot of ZQI, and that's Walmart brass cased ammunition, and they call it NATO stuff, and that stuff has been shooting well out of it, but I can feel it tight in the chamber. When I chamber it, when I get it in there, push that bolt down to really lock it in there, I could feel it tight. And some of my handles won't even chamber in this gun, and those were from my Remington 700. So we experimented. I shot a couple of those out. Some of them did, some of them didn't. So we backed some of the ones out that didn't. But the reason I bought this was I had a bunch of questions, and people were asking me, the budget rifles, the budget, entry-level centerfire rifles, people that were, had a pistol or shotgun, they were like, I want to get a big centerfire rifle, and, what's out there to buying them on a budget. So this is, that's a crowded market. There's pretty much every rifle company makes a, $300 in that ballpark of rifle. And this rifle is $320 with a $50 mail-in rebate, so it came down to $270. With the scope and rings, it's pretty inexpensive. So when I first bought this rifle, I wanted to get good scope rings and a good scope for it. I want to buy a Leopold VX1 for this rifle, and I almost did, but I stopped. I bought the rings actually, but I didn't buy the scope. And I just, for the reason, because most people that buy this rifle are going to buy it and they're going to keep it just like this. They're not going to put a VX1 on there. They're not going to put new rings on there. Even though I highly suggest putting new rings on this, because these rings are garbage. These rings are the same rings that came on my Savage Model 93 in the same scope. This scope you can get by with. It's not a bad scope, that comes with the rifle, but these rings are junk. And I've already had to tighten these twice. Once on the base, and yesterday when I was shooting it, the front was coming in loose, and I could hear the thing rattling as I was shooting it. And, I was losing a little bit of accuracy at distance. So these rings are trash, and my old ones stripped out, and these ones haven't stripped out. They're working now with attention just about every 12 rounds. I have to give them attention, 12 to 15 rounds. But I would suggest replacing this. Get some $20 Leopold rings and just replace this before you even leave the store when you purchase this rifle. But also, you get a $50 mail-in rebate when you buy this rifle. So I was able to shoot this rifle about 70 yards, just sitting down, resting this rifle on my knee, and I was able to get groups about an inch, about an inch and a quarter. So I'm gonna guess this rifle, if you bench rest this rifle with good aim, with match ammunition, you should be able to rock 1.5 inch groups with this. That's kind of the MOA I'm expecting out of this, maybe a little bit better. But this rifle, if you do your part and you know how to shoot, you can definitely shoot this rifle pretty well, and it will give you some good stuff. So let's talk about my main complaints about this rifle right here. My biggest one is going to be this magazine system. So we got it loaded up right there. This magazine, first couple times I went to shoot this magazine, I inserted the magazine and it didn't click all the way, and it was able to fall out. And so I went to my shoot where I was going to shoot, and I went to chamber around, and nothing happened. And I looked, I could see light through the bottom of the rifle. The magazine had just fallen out. The it's got this little cheesy plastic clip on it. My thought about this is, that's definitely the rage, is detachable magazine systems and bolt action rifles, but this isn't going to take some 5 or 10 rounder in here. I mean, you probably could make one, but it's going to be cheesy. It's going to be gimmicky and hokey. I think this rifle would have been better if Ruger had just put an internal box magazine in this, milled out the top of the receiver a little bit more so you could top load the thing, and that's all they should have done with this thing. And forget these detachable box magazine. It doesn't. You'll learn how to work it. You can get it to work and the magazine not to fall out, but you're walking around in the woods and it only comes with one magazine. You're hunting or you're doing anything, and you go to load around, your magazine's not in your gun, you have a problem. Hopefully it's not trying to defend you against bears or something like that, or a moose. But I think that this should be scrapped, this idea. My next complaint about this would be this trigger mechanism right here, and it's definitely for cost, but this piece of plastic right here, you can see where it's cut out, and it's got a screw to hold it in there, but it's weak in the stock, and I'm able to get the stock to flex right here at this weak point right there, and I've noticed that a little bit, and it's kind of annoying, but I don't know how much it affects the performance of the rifle. I know on a high-end rifle it would, but I'm able to still shoot this rifle pretty well. One really good aspect of this rifle is the butt pad. It's just a real mushy piece of rubber. Some people might think it's too sticky, and it definitely sticks to your clothes pretty well. But it really soaks up the recoil. No, trigger. No, it really does soak up the recoil well. Also, this as I said earlier, this is an accurate rifle. It definitely shoots pretty well. So let's just sum up. If you're somebody that just has a 22 or a shotgun, maybe a handgun, and wants to step into your first bolt action centerfire rifle, something with some punch to it, I think this is a good choice right here. It's for the bang for the buck, or also if you're on a budget, it's a good choice right here. You're getting a lot of gun for the money, and if you learn how to shoot, if you could shoot, you could outshoot somebody that's 100 with this if you know how to shoot. Or a Savage Model 10 or 11, you could outshoot somebody if you know how to shoot. You could definitely shoot this gun well. I think the technology making firearms now, especially in this barrel, I think is pretty well. I'm pretty impressed with the barrel of this rifle right here, and it definitely works pretty well. The bolt's a little sticky, but that probably, if you just break it in, once you got a couple hundred rounds through it, clean it a bunch of times, get a lot of oil on it, it'd probably be fine. I bet a lot of guns are like that when they're new. But if you're a guy that already has a 700, if you got a Ruger Hawkeye and the 77, if you got a Savage Model 10 or an 11, this you might be a little disappointed with this gun because the stock feels a little flimsy on it. It's definitely cheap, plasticky feeling, but it does work. It does what it's supposed to do, for a good, real good entry. But this gun, it might be a good gun to stash away, in a cabin, something like that. Maybe a truck gun, maybe a boat, if you're up in Alaska or something like that, and you go bear hunting, you got to go across rivers and stuff. Leave it in a boat because you get destroyed, or it sinks, or you drop it, it gets buried in the snow. Who cares? Buy another one, or go back looking for it in the spring when the water warms up or the snow melts. But yeah, that's about it. But thanks for watching, folks, and if you like this review, give me a thumbs up. Feel free to subscribe. If you have any questions, post them below. I try to get back to questions as quickly as possible. And also, I have the Ruger American in 30-06, and we're going to do a comparison with both these rifles and do a heads up on these and see which one I like better. But thanks for watching, folks.